look at the scoreboard, you know, chop away a little bit at a time, and that's what you did. It's just, you just ran out of time.
Yeah, and I don't know that that was an overcomable, is that a word? An overcomable.
Yeah, insurmountable.
Yeah, insurmountable lead, because, you know, we really got down deep in the first half, and, you know, they shot 58%, we shot 18% in the first half, and I think when we went into the locker room at halftime, and we just talked about mentality and where do we go from here. You know, we didn't get off to a good start, and we felt like it was partly effort, but it was a great deal of execution. And in order to execute, you have to be mentally in the right place, because if you're thinking about, you know, we're down, or I missed that last shot, or I didn't front the post, or whatever, you spend time thinking about that, it's difficult to execute effectively either on offense or defense. So we talked about getting our minds right coming out into the second half, and you know, as a coach, we're always looking for what can we build on, and I think that mentality and where we are as a team right now is a step forward from maybe where we were a couple of weeks ago. I think that we have a lot of fight in us, and I think that we're willing to humble ourselves and say, we were just not very effective with this. Here was my part of it. I didn't do this very well, and now I'm not going to stop fighting. I'm going to keep fighting, and that's what I heard from them just now, and that's what I heard when we went in at halftime. You know, they have some time to speak while the coaches are meeting. It's right next to us. We can hear the conversation, and it was very respectful and very, you know, I got to get back in the hole. We got, you know, they talked about what they needed to do to improve, and so when we walked in, and we didn't give them a lot of time tonight to dwell on it. We went in pretty quickly, but it was all very productive speaking in the locker room at halftime. And when we came out, I felt like, you know, they did push it now, and they did play all the way to the buzzer. As a coach, I look at what happened, and I see, you know, they had one of their top players out. Loyola did. They started number 25, Lisa Samplowski, who averaged up until now 1.5 points and 1.5 rebounds, probably, yeah. Okay, so 4 in conference though. I don't think.
Oh, in conference. Okay.
Yeah, and so she comes out and she hits, you know, her first 3 shots, and we had said to them when when Patrice King goes out of the game, she comes in, it's a very different style of game, because King really pushes the ball. She's very athletic. She's very quick. And Samplowski has obviously taken a page out of King's book, because she played with a ton of confidence and really, you know, looked for her shots. And she didn't look like anybody we'd seen, you know, and she didn't look like that at all in earlier games. But as looking at this game as a coach, what I saw was that our offense became very stagnant. We weren't shooting the ball well, and we were getting frustrated. Our offense wasn't effective, and we got stuck. And while pressing isn't always, and I had seen them against the press, and they did show some signs of weakness against the press, but you can't press for 40 minutes. Not if you're not a 40-minute pressing team, and we don't play very many players. So we had to make a decision of when we were going to do that. When we did it, it spurred our offense, and it made us a more of an attack mentality. And as a coach, I can look at that and say, maybe we can apply that type of pressure earlier, get our offense moving, maybe, you know, back it off and play again in a half-court setting. Now we have a different mentality. Because we pressed basically 20 minutes tonight, and perhaps we could have put that on early. I just didn't know how long our legs would hold up, you know, pressing with as many minutes as we play. But I was pleased with what I saw. I think we've got to figure out how not to get in those holes. We get in holes like that, you know, often.